a demo using Studio to create a very simple document. Before I get started, just to give you a little bit of a lap around GhostDraft Studio, you'll notice that it seems very familiar. It looks like most of the Office-based products. We've purposefully done that to create an environment that's very familiar for the business user, so that when they go into Studio to author documents, it operates in a familiar fashion. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to import a Word document. And so I do not have to do a bunch of typing. I'm just going to start with this Word document. It's going to ask me, do you want to make it a GhostDraft document? And I'm going to say yes. And it's going to pull that in and give me a great starting point for working on this particular document. So just a quick preview about this document. This one is an underwriting letter that you would send out when you're providing a discount to an auto driver who has teenage drivers on their policy, and the discount is related to their good grades. So you know, if the student driver has over a 3.0 grade point average, then you give them a discount. So that's what this letter is all about. So you'll see that it's in Studio now, and I'm just going to scroll down to give you a little. This letter is in a format that we see all the time when people are using Word to create this kind of correspondence, and they decide they need to move to a more automated and elegant solution like GhostDraft. You'll see how we've got, you know, there's this paragraph that could be pulled in, or there's this other paragraph that could come in, or there's a third paragraph that could come in. And, you know, depending upon the situation, that particular paragraph is used. So it's really common to start out with content that looks that way. And I'm going to show you how you can make that more automated using GhostDraft and conditional logic. So the first thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to talk to you about this logo. So in GhostDraft, we give you the capability to build content into small segments of content that you can then use across lots of different documents. I'm going to open up one of those. So if I double click here on this thing that says Freedom Insurance logo, you see that just pulled in. It's just pulled in the logo. It's just, that's all it is in this its own little document. And so instead of having the logo hard-coded in this particular document, I'm actually going to pull in this the other one that was already created for me, and we call this a subscription. So it basically allows me to create the content once and then reuse it many, many, many times. So from not only from a creation perspective, but certainly from a maintenance perspective, this can be a huge time saver because it allows you to only have to maintain these components in one place. I'm going to do the same thing with my my name and address block. I also have a name and address block subscription. So another cool thing about GhostDraft Studio is I can flip from this view, which is my markup view, so the logic behind my document. I can flip to my finished document view with just one click. That's a really nice thing to be able to go back and forth pretty easily and see, okay, what's my finished document going to look like? So you see, I clicked here in my lower left-hand corner and I went to layout view, and it shows me that, yep, this is what my document's going to look like. And so I can now go back to my markup and continue. So I'm going to fill in my policy number. So I'm going to go and pull some information out of my model library. Model libraries are just a way to group information, like information together. So you'll see that I have an insured model, for example, that gives me all of the information about my insured, including the policy number. So I just double clicked on policy number, which was in my insured model, and you'll notice that it inserted it into my document. You'll notice also that it's in blue and square brackets, so it gives you some visual indication that that's a variable data placeholder, as opposed to just text on the document. I can also format that by just right-clicking on it. I get a list of formats that I can apply to that particular field. So let's do the policy renewal date. So that's going to be in my policy information model, and here it is, renewal date. So you see when I double-clicked on it, I got that too. Well, it's not quite in the font I want, so I'm going to change the font. And I'm going to set a format on it. So you'll notice that my format list is different. Because that particular field is defined as a date, I get a different format list. So I'm just going to choose a format. You'll notice that it puts the format right in the description. So in plain English, I can tell that this is the renewal date of the policy, and it's going to be formatted month, day, year. So it's pretty easy to read the logic behind the document. And of course, if I want to see that in action, I can always just flip over to my layout view and be able to see that information. So moving down the document, I said there are these 3 paragraphs. There's this one that talks about please send us a copy of the most recent grades. And there's this one which is, hey, we've asked you for them once, but hey, send us those grades. It's important. So this is kind of a second request one. And then this 3rd paragraph is all about you didn't qualify. So now I'm going to show you how to add conditional logic to deal with these variable paragraphs. So I'm going to go to my model, and you'll notice that I have a set of tests already set up for several different kinds of request types, right? So a first request, a second request, canceled, and is not eligible. And so if I double click on this, you'll notice that it puts in if then else conditions for me. So several different ways you can get if then else logic inserted into the document. The key thing to know about that is that none of those mechanisms require that the user write out the condition, right? So there's several different ways. Some come off of a menu, some you double click, and I don't have time to show you all of those things, but just know that the key to them is the user doesn't have to write the condition. They don't have to know the syntax. They don't have to remember to get the semicolon in the right place, or none of those things that that you have to do with a traditional programming language. This actually takes care of all of that for you. And all you have to do is worry about getting the content in the right place. And so if, let's say that this is my paragraph that deals with a first request. So I'm just going to cut and paste it into my first request one. And then this paragraph deals with my second request. And so I'm going to cut and paste that into my second request. And you get the idea, right? That I can build up logic in the document that allows variable paragraphs to come and go based on the data that's sent to the document as it's created. So I'm just going to delete the rest of this so that we can look at this document in its completed form. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we test this thing. So I'm going to flip back to my finished document, and you'll see that one of my paragraphs is being selected. So I have these things in Studio called scenarios, which is just basically my ability to create my own test data. Let me talk to you about that for just a second. Within GhostDraft Studio, there is no requirement that you be connected to the database. You don't have to know anything about the database where the data to feed the documents, to generate the documents is stored. This is a differentiator for us from other products. Many other composition systems require that the user or the creator of content know either the rows and field names in the database, or that they get data from the database to be able to do testing, or that there's some reliance on that core system from a document creation perspective. And with GhostDraft, that's just not true. So we have these scenarios that allow us to do that testing. So you'll see that this particular paragraph is being used in the document because my first request is selected here. If I change that to say second request, you notice that a different paragraph comes in. And so I can build scenarios. You'll see that I have 4 of them here in my library, but I could build as many as I need to. And I can then page through them and see that the document changes as I go. You can really see that in this document, probably easiest with the name and address block, right? You see that changing and moving around. So it's really simple to build up a library of test scenarios that can be used as you're building out the logic in GhostDraft Studio. So that really completes my very simple demo of a very simple document for today. If you'd like to know more, please visit our website or give us a call.